But I want to make sure we get a little larger audience for you if you're okay. Candace, it looks like you're feeling better, right?
Yes, I slept most of yesterday and really helped. So yes.
All right, good, good. Okay, who wants to share news? Who's had a cool accomplishment in the last day or so? Who wants to share? Come on, don't be bashful.
I have. It's Lorna.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. I
Okay,
took
tell
a
us what's new.
I took a CE class, the Cloud CMA, from FMLS, and it was fantastic. So I have some friends that are, kind of working along with me, and I put a couple of them together and sent them, and they were shocked that I could do that, and I was shocked that I could do that. But I was more like excited about all of the tools that are in the FMLS, and that Cloud CMA was amazing.
So just so everyone can hear, what other tools are you referring to? What were some of the tools that you learned the most from, or you think have the most potential for, giving value to your people?
Okay, so when you use the cloud program for creating a CMA, it basically puts together a whole presentation for you.
Yeah.
And a buyer's presentation and a seller's presentation, but it kind of incorporates it all into the CMA. So it still has all the information about you and Keller Williams and however you customize it. But it was almost like sending a listing presentation sort of that had the whole comp analysis in it. It was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So remember, everyone, if you go to fmls.com, there's a tab for classes, and there's tons of free classes, some of which are CE credits. So don't forget that there's some really cool tools. Now, Lorna, let me dig on one more thing you said, which is, did you take a friend's address and then put together a presentation for them on what their value might be, and you sent it off? Did you send that off unsolicited, or did you say, hey, I'm trying out some new software, I just wanted to give you some information about some research on your home? How did you set that up?
I did two of them, and one of them I just did. Well, I did three. I did one on my house, and my husband was shocked. And then I have a friend that's going through a divorce, and they're trying to figure out how to split the property. I think I spoke with you about that a long time ago, Bill.
Yeah.
So I sent one of those out to her just so that she could really see what I had been talking about. And then I did one just for a girlfriend that, I'm like, oh, just look. And she wasn't really thinking of selling, but now she's like, wow. So I was just doing it for doing something every day to make my business grow. And that's what I focused on this week. And I don't know, it went pretty well. So we'll see.
I think that's awesome. I mean, you guys could take any one of your neighbors or friends or work friends or church friends or whatever, and say, hey, I'm learning a new technology, right? They don't necessarily need to know that it's fairly common or whatever, but hey, it's new for you. I'm learning a new technology, and I just wanted to put together a report for you and just share with you and see if you had any questions or thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Chances are there may be something in there that surprises you. Go ahead, Candace.
I was just going to say, and I heard a couple of things in there. Lorna said, what I'm focusing on this week. So Lorna's breaking down all of the things that are overwhelming into a weekly focus, which I think is fantastic. So
yes,
just great.
Awesome. All right, let's do one more. I'm going to tell you about a couple of things coming up, and then Candace is going to take over. Actually, Mahir, are you in a spot where you could share your experience over the last week or so, or a couple weeks?
Yes, I can. So as I posted about the client that called me yesterday, so I went on this meeting 2 weeks ago, and that was when towards the end, when they pulled that Zillow offer and showed it to me. That was I hated that moment, because when I went in, I was pretty sure, I was confident that I was going to get the listing. And after that, it showed me the Zillow, and I ran the numbers after I got back next day, and I had to tell them that's a better offer. If the Zillow sticks to that pricing, And I didn't ask him yesterday what happened, but I'm assuming something happened with Zillow where they didn't stick to the price for it. So, but I wasn't looking for that transaction. It's more about developing a relationship into the future with them, because that could lead into multiple transactions with these people, and hopefully I'll get referrals out of that. And so,
Love that. So you presented a price to them on the front end. The Zillow pitch looked more appealing.
yes,
You did the right thing and
yes,
looked out for the best interest of your client, which, I mean, first of all, you have to know the best interest of your client. So you got to ask them what's most important to them and why they're thinking about moving and what's going to help them make their choice and all that kind of thing, right? Ultimately, it was clear that Zillow might be a better path for them. You recommended that. They then continued to do research and ultimately decided to hire you anyway. Is that right?
yes. So I think they went through the Zillow part of it, and something happened which I didn't ask them what happened, but I'll get detail of it so I can at least educate myself and share that uh, part of Zillow if anybody else comes across same thing.
Beautiful. My hunch is, um, I have seen a lot, probably, I don't know, easily 100 Zillow offers, and the fact that they are typically somewhere in the 20 to 25% below market value. I am aware of a couple of times where their algorithm has been off, and that Zillow has offered, in my opinion, way more than they should have, right? And this may be one of those scenarios. However, they may have gone through the process of like, because Zillow is going to do a home inspection, and they're going to crush them for home inspection stuff. And maybe that's something that turned them away, or it could have been anything in the process. We'll find out soon. But the bottom line is number one, you did the right. Number one, you created the relationship in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And secondly, you nailed the appointment. You created a great rapport and a great relationship. You added on to the fact that you're an honest businessman and you were looking out for their best interest. And now you get rewarded, not only with this person's listing, but all the people that this person knows. This person's probably going to become one of your biggest cheerleaders. So great job, my friend. Congratulations.
Two things on this one. I would say is when you said that nobody does this, I was kind of thinking you were BSing at that time when you said none of the agents do this. So when I went into appointments and I told them all the stuff and what you were saying, I started believing that they felt like none of the agents that they had experience with done what, Keller Williams offers. So you were correct that I saw it in their eyes that nobody does this. So, and other thing was that you ruffled the feathers that you say we are unemployed. And that helps out a lot. That kind of like a chip on the shoulder type deal.
Yeah. So um, let me comment on both of those ideas. So the ruffling of the feathers thing is, I challenged you guys, some individually and some privately, or some individually and some publicly, not by name, of course. But look, if you don't currently have an active listing that today your job is to go find this buyer for, or you don't currently have an active buyer agency agreement with at least one buyer, you're pretty much unemployed, right? So what is your plan today to go develop relationships, create urgency, and make business happen, right? You're never going to get paid unless we have agreements. So I'm glad that kind of got under your skin a little bit here, because it's going to cause you to have a couple, 5-figure paycheck, right?
I hope so.
And by the way, I'm sure it's a pretty home. You're going to get lots of leads from marketing that property too, right?
Yes, and the referral, because they spoke really highly of Keller Williams and myself as well, too, right after the presentation. That's before them even worrying about dealing with Zillow at all.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have this idea that like the agent and the iBuyer are like at odds, right? So if I go into a seller and the seller says, hey, I'm talking to Open Door or Keller Offers or whatever, and I'm going to get a cash offer. So I'm thinking about going in that direction, saying, awesome. So I'm here to help. So let's review what could happen if you go on the open market, right? Let's talk about pros and cons there. And then let me help facilitate your experience with Zillow or Open Door or Redfin or whoever the hell is going to buy this home, Keller Offers. And you'll see, right? I think the home could be worth 500. Keller offers said 470, or Open Door said 460. So, okay, so here's an offer for 460. Here are the pros, here are the cons. Here's the data that supports this home could be worth close to 500. Here's the pros, here's the cons. What makes more sense for you, right? So there's some people that will exchange that equity for the convenience. That's why these things are in operation in the first place, right? You guys have heard me tell you that story many years, well, not that long ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. An old client of mine, a horrible situation. They put their 1.5-year-old son down for a nap, and the son never woke up. And they never went. This was upstairs in their home. This is the home I helped them buy, and they never went back upstairs. They sold their home to Knock. They had a different business model at the time, and they didn't want to market it. They didn't want to clean anything up. They didn't want to pack it. They wanted to leave the home and never go back, right? So sometimes that service is a match, and sometimes it's not. So if you are their teammate as they're learning about what choices they have, they will trust you. If you automatically start saying, well, you don't want to do that, you don't want to do that, oh no, maybe they do. Maybe you haven't asked enough questions, right? So don't forget that you're the teammate. They may work with you, they may work with Zillow, but regardless, your job is to create the relationship. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's exactly. It was a partnership approach.
Exactly. Candace, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I just think, as I put in the chat, you're their trusted advisor now. And that's exactly where you want to be. That trust is so important. And you've gained that
Exactly.
at a very early stage, which is amazing.
Exactly. All right, let me do 2 seconds of housekeeping, and then Candace, the show is yours. Today at 11 o'clock in this room will be the Growth Mastermind. So I'm going to invite everyone that is, let's say 4 units, 4 sales per year or more. Please join us in this room at 11 o'clock. We're going to talk a little bit more higher level stuff today. And do not forget that Monday at 1:30, so from 1:30 to 2:30, Greta has kindly volunteered to teach a class on DocuSign. That is going to be in person for about 15 people max. I've got a handful of people that have signed up in the office in the big room. So if there are a couple slots left, if you want to message me, I'll reserve one for you. And we will have it on Zoom as well. And of course, it'll be recorded. Greta, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, you should have your DocuSign account connected to Command through orientation. So if you come with that portion done, because I won't be going over that, it's really more around how do I write a contract? We're going to focus on the buyer side. How do I organize my documents? How do I label things? And how do I keep my squirrels corralled in a way that makes sense?
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you again for number one, taking the time to learn it and become an expert, and secondly, for being willing to share with the group. So thank you, thank you. Okay, Candace, what are we learning today?
Bill's and my idea was that we give you something each week that you can either put into a video or a blog form. So this is solving problems for sellers, since that's where everybody would like to be. And so you can use this handout. I ripped off and changed up some things. I used some different sources, some of my own knowledge, and the handout is in the PC Help community. Just beware of my typing errors, because I did this yesterday. And so just beware the typing errors, but you can use this, make it your own. And so what are some things that sellers need to do in order to get their home ready for market? And number one is they need to start packing. Because our market moves very, very fast, it's really important that when they start thinking about selling their home, they start packing, getting the closets sorted through, getting the attic, the basement. They don't have to pack up their silverware and dishes and eat on paper plates, but it's really important that they start to help the home look less cluttered, more. It makes it look more spacious when they've gone through that sorting process. And if they have a thank you, and
help?
if they yes, thank you, and if they have an issue with that, maybe there's somebody who just can't get started, maybe there's somebody who works all the time, maybe whatever their reason is that they can't get started with that, you can use services like an organizing angel. She's actually on my, when I show my team for my listing presentation, she's on my team, Sheila Anderson. She's very reasonable. There are more than one out there, but these are people who like to really organize. They're good at it. They'll pack things away. And so I put that resource in there for you. And also, less is more when it comes to closets. This is really, if you've ever been, has anybody been to the Container Store and looked at their closet setups?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, I have about $3,000 worth of it in my basement right now.
I love it. I love it. So when you go there, they make it look so inviting. They have all the clothes are typically one color, and there are just a few clothes in each closet. So that's like the standard that we strive for when we're helping our sellers get ready for a home. They can't always do that, but I've been in $600,000, $700,000 homes where the walk-in closet is packed with clothes. The clothes are not lined up. They're sticking out. The elbows are sticking out in some places. Hangers are sticking out in others. And that doesn't help them at all get the highest price. So it's really a great idea to help them understand that starting to pack and starting to clean up and get ready will help them in the long run, because when their home goes under contract and they've got 30 days to move, it won't be quite as stressful. Number 2 is clear away the clutter. And I like to, if there's time, take my sellers on a tour of model homes so that they can see what they have included and what they don't have included. Or homes that have been staged. I try to stick with model homes, because the staged homes, I don't want to go on a pretense there. And the model homes, we can just be go shopping and looking, and we can be very honest that we're trying to see what you have available. So you won't see stacks of unread magazines. They won't have magnets on the refrigerators, even though we love our kids' art. They won't have that. They won't have a cluster of unpaid bills on the table. And just remember, buyers want to see a fantasy version of the home. Buyers buy based on emotion. And Bill, I don't know if you're able to share that video, but I would encourage all of you to go to Sarah Sloan's website and look at the video where it's the blue home. Are you going to be able to do that? Oh, that'd be awesome.
Do you know is it sarahsloan.com?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, guide me.
Yep. Okay, just scroll down.
That's one of Rachel's pictures.
Oh, nice.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, scroll down.
Go to home and scroll down. Let me get their bill and I'll tell you just a second.
Okay.
But this is probably one of the best examples of marketing lifestyle and emotion.
Maybe look under the Sell Your Home tab.
There you go. That's it.
That
Thank
would
you.
probably be a reasonable place
that's
to
it.
look, right?
And then if you
Which one do
scroll
you want
down,
me to look at? This one right here?
the blue one, it's about 5 minutes long, but I think it's worth our time.
Hang on. There we go.
Yeah,
All right. You guys got some funny comments.
I know, right?
Um, I don't know much about who did this for her, but we could certainly find out. Sarah and I have been going back and forth for a day or two on something else anyway. Yeah, I can definitely try to find out who helped her with this. Yeah, there's some funny stuff here. All right, take it over.
So really what that
Oh
does
wait,
is
let's go back to
sharing the screen.
this. Yeah.
Thank you. So really what we know is that, oops, it's not sharing yet, Bill.
Oh, I unshared it. My bad. Sorry about that. All right, there you go.
So really what that illustrates is, and this was a home on her website. It says that the home was listed with another agent for about 6 months and didn't sell. And she did this video and her marketing, and it sold very quickly. And you can see why. I mean, she painted the emotion of what living in that home would look like. And buyers buy based on dreams. Most of the time they buy because, oh, if I move into this home and the closet is organized, I'm going to get organized. Oh, if I move in this home and the kitchen has an island, I'm going to be able to cook great dinners and I'm going to entertain more. So when we understand that motivation that drives buyers, we can encourage that, and clearing away the clutter is a big part of that, because nobody wants to go from their cluttered home into another cluttered home. So just encourage and it's very sensitive to talk about the kids' things and all the personal photos. But what I like to tell them, and I'm like, it's really important that somebody walks in your home and they can see themselves living in your home. And when there's too much of your personality in here, that's much harder for them to take that step. So put your things away, put your beloved kids' drawings away. It'll be like Christmas or a holiday when you get to unpack them in your new place. That's a way to handle that kind of sensitive, I think, issue. And then it's really important. First impressions are the most important. So get outside curb appeal. I sometimes bring azalea plants for my sellers who have a very barren front yard, with the caveat that they plant them, because I don't do that. But I think it's important for them to have as many flowering plants as possible in the time that we can show flowering plants. Fresh mulch in all the beds. Pressure washing is really important. If the home, I've been in, again, really expensive homes, and the very front door, you look up and there's cobwebs all over. We don't want that when we're getting ready to sell a home. So encourage them to get it pressure washed, get all the mulch in, get the flowering in. And then if there's a deck or a patio and they can stage it with furniture, let them do that. And if their furniture is kind of outdated and you're not going to hire a stager, or they're not going to hire a stager, fresh throw pillows and a colorful rug can make everything better. This is also a tough sell for your sellers, especially in this market, but I think every home should be inspected every 3 to 5 years per my inspector, who's a master inspector. And what that does is it means that you don't have a laundry list of things when you get ready to sell your home, but most people do have a laundry list of things that they have to do when they sell their home. So getting a pre-inspection can help them find out what might be asked for on an inspection amendment. I'm sorry, an amendment to address concerns or a right to request repairs. The cost is $200 to $500, but it can save them potentially thousands of dollars if a deal goes south because they didn't know they had mold. Or they didn't know that they had a wiring issue or a truss in the attic that had been compromised. So I always encourage my sellers to get a pre-inspection. And sometimes what that does is it speeds up for the buyer too, because you can show the inspection and the repairs that have been done. And then the buyer doesn't necessarily feel like they have to have a full inspection, which saves time. Okay, that's supposed to be number 5. That should be number 5. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It's the way my layout is. 3 is improve your home. We skipped ahead.
Okay.
Thank you. 3 is improve your home. And that's 3 levels of improvement. Minor repairs. It's not always necessary for sellers to do major expensive renovations. Sometimes they can just make minor repairs. They can replace the caulk and grout in bathrooms. If it's moldy, they can clean it up. Updating old or rusted ceiling fans, particularly on screen porches. New light fixtures. I once saw an agent who had a listing I once saw an agent who had a listing and the home was just sitting there and it expired. And then a new agent came in and all she did was she had the home painted. She had new tile put in the master bathroom because that was one of the wow features, and new light fixture in the dining room. The home sold within 2 weeks. So really minor repairs can make a difference. Changing switch plates if they're the old beige ones, doorknobs, other hardware. You can evaluate that with your sellers and help them understand which of those they need to do. Painting the front door, we've talked about this before, painting the front door a blue color, depending on the color of the house, can increase offers by $1,500. So, and also the trim, and also making sure there's no cobwebs. Moderate upgrades and repairs would include the home is outdated, but in good shape, it's been maintained. It might just need, painting, flooring, maybe new kitchen appliances. Maybe the kitchen is still Corian, but the cabinets look great. So maybe just new kitchen counters. There's a place up on McFarland called 1895 Granite, and they have quartz and granite, and they're very inexpensive. They come measure, they put it in, install, and it's a lot less expensive than going with a retail shop. And then there's extensive remodeling. Now, if the home was built a while ago, it's a 1960s home, it still has floor radiator vents and has never been upgraded, it might be a consideration for a seller to explore something more extensive. And they can use our partners like Knock, Keller Concierge, and there are other companies like Upsell who will go in and they go in and they consult with the seller, they put together a program, and then they do the work, and a non-interest loan starts at the end of the project when it's completed and goes for 6 months to allow the seller time to sell the home. I like to, when I have homes like that, I like to take we probably all know somebody who's a flipper. If you don't, I can hook you up with some, but Mahir, getting a flipper in to advise your seller can also, or make suggestions so you can advise your seller, is also a way forward with that. And then we talked about the outside curb appeal, and we talked about the inspection. And then I wanted to talk about how you can shape this into a video or a blog. Remember, you have a hook. There's 4 stages: hook, align with feelings, 4 or 5 bullet points, and a call to action. So possible hooks for this would be, do you want to know how some sellers are getting maximum profit and faster offers? Or does it seem overwhelming to put your home on the market? Let me make it easier. Or how to get started getting ready to put your home on the market. To align with their feelings, you can say something like, it can seem daunting to get your home ready to put on the market. I understand, having moved more than once. And then, or if you're thinking about getting your home ready to market, it's a big job. You're not alone. I understand, I've gone through that same process. Here are some tips to make it easier. And then you can go through these 4 bullet points. There should be 5. I just numbered these. I did these yesterday, sorry, when I wasn't feeling well. So yeah, there's 5. Schedule a pre-inspection should be number 5. And then you just go through these bullet points, and then you do a call to action, which is just give me a private message in Messenger or call me, and I'll help you walk through some of the tips. Love that.
I'll share a story that I went and an old buddy of mine who I've helped with a couple transactions over the many years. I swung by his house the other day to look at it. He's ready to sell in a couple months, and he's got a lot of like little things, right, that like could probably be dealt with. And he was asking, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? And the question is, or the answer really is, it depends, right? Number one, it depends on what all the competitors are doing, right? Are you the only house in the neighborhood that doesn't have granite? Are you the only house in the neighborhood that doesn't have hardwoods? Right? That might cause you to go in one direction. If you've got like I'm trying to think of some of the things that like he was asking me about, like that, like a little tiny repair on one of the cabinets in the bathroom or something like that. Like, he probably doesn't need to do that to sell the home, right? He needs to look at property or look at things that indicate a lack of maintenance, right? So in my opinion, that he definitely needs some paint. There's a couple little areas of wood rot. Those should be tended to. Like, he has a gutter that needs repair. That needs to be tended to. Things that indicate that somebody is aware of a problem and then does nothing about it, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you walk in and you see something like that, it's not really the cost of, oh gosh, that's going to cost me $100 to navigate. It's the impression that gives. Gosh, how long has that guy seen that piece of wood rot there and he doesn't seem to care about it? So what else has he seen that he knows it needs to be addressed, that he's ignored that too, right? And so it's not the fact that, hey, that's $100 problem that the buyer might have to deal with. It's, I don't know if I like the style of the seller because of how they're respecting or not respecting their home. I'm not sure I want to buy this home as a result, right? So they don't necessarily have to go and spend dollar after dollar making their home perfect. You as their advisor need to have enough knowledge about what's going on nearby so that you can make appropriate recommendations. And I will agree with you, Greta, that is probably my biggest pet peeve in a house as well. And the guy's house that I went to the other day, all over the map with different types of light bulbs. Some are the twirly kind, some are the big fat kind, some are the small kind. Most of them were different colors. There's a hot mess. And that was one thing I told him. I said, you gotta clean this up. And he says, yeah. Okay, any questions on Candace's list of hints today?
I have a question. So Candace, you mentioned or suggested getting a pre-inspection, and I'm wondering if they find out things that they didn't know about, then they're going to have to include that on their seller's property disclosure. So I guess it's kind of a gamble too, but it's going to come up anyway, right? So, but that led me to think about should we be advising sellers to get a pre-appraisal as well? Just with the, there's changes in the appraisals these days, or just interesting things going on with that.
Go ahead.
I was going to say sometimes you can tell by the neighborhood that you don't need a pre-appraisal. We can determine that. But if it's a home that's very, very different from every home that is around it, it can be a little bit more difficult. So you can advise for somebody to get a pre-appraisal, but it isn't always necessary. And the same with the pre-inspection. If somebody, my brother-in-law is a former Marine, and every single year he does something to maintain or improve his house. It's locked up tight. The windows go about 10 years and then there's new windows, and same for paint, same for roof. So same for septic. So, I would never advise for him to have a pre-inspection. So if you have somebody like that, it's not necessary. But if you go into a home and you can see that, like Bill was saying, there's wood rot and there's a gutter, that's when I might have a pre-inspection, because you don't know what else is going on.
Yeah,
honestly, in this market,
I was just about to ask you to give some thoughts on that, Pam. Go ahead.
in this market, I don't see a reason to do a pre-appraisal. For one thing, prices are changing so much that if you do the pre-appraisal 2 or 3 weeks before you sell, it's an appraisal at a point in time. And and prices are rising. So I don't see a reason to do a pre-appraisal unless, as Candace mentioned, there's something different about that house, something unusual. I've only advised one seller to do a pre-appraisal, and I'll be honest, I was kind of disappointed. They had made a beautiful 3-story addition onto their house. Looked gorgeous. You really couldn't tell it was an addition. In the way you usually can. It was a fabulous design and job. And I had them do the pre-appraisal. This was just November. So it wasn't that long ago. But, no other homes in their neighborhood had the extra, that extra square footage and that sort of thing. So, and the pre-appraisal came in way lower than what we thought the house was worth. And we listed it for $55,000 more, and and sold it, and ended up selling it for about $45,000 more.
Wow. I was thinking, like, there might be situations like that if there are, let's say it's on an unusual amount of land, or they've done some like major, like $200,000 of hardscape or something like that. Like everyone's been saying, something that's unusual, something that's a little unique. Pam, what's your take on a pre-inspection?
No, I go back and forth on that, even thinking my own house, would I do a pre-inspection? I do think it can be a good to-do list for the sellers to realize that their house isn't perfect. And right now, the service industry and people are so busy. I think it would give them a heads up to go ahead and get someone lined up to do some of these things that are going to show up on an inspection anyway. Now, that inspection doesn't mean that that's all anyone will ever find, because every inspector will find something different.
That's right.
But it will hit all the major, you'll find out any of the major issues and can go ahead and address those.
One thing I've always thought about is this idea that, let's say I have a pre-home inspection and they say that the, temperature differential is bad on the HVAC system, right? Like, more than likely that's something that somebody else is going to find, and the seller should probably tend to that. That would be the responsible thing to do. If they were to find something like, the polarity is reversed on the electrical outlet, then the owner could fix that if they know how to fix that, prior to the home being listed and the home being inspected again. And as long as they know how to do it and they do it safely, then everything will be fine by the time the buyer inspects. If the buyer inspects and finds that stuff, they'll want a licensed electrician to do it, which is going to be a little bit more expensive. So that's one pro and con. But right now, homes are selling so fast, and half the buyers are waiving these contingencies anyway. So the likelihood of a seller agreeing to fix backer electrical outlets is pretty nil right now, right? So again, you always have to be studying the market of the moment.
Exactly. And like I said, pre-inspection is not for every home. But if you walk into a home where you see there's a lot of issues, if it's something that could scare away the buyer, it could, they could lose, and that does happen. I mean, it's happened within our group where the buyers walked because just recently with Alma, I believe it was, the buyers walked because they just got scared of the condition of the house and the way the seller's attitude was about it. And so in that case, that seller probably should have had a pre-inspection. But yeah, in this market, it's something you're going to be evaluating on a case-by-case basis. There's no formula that you can use for every single home. Each one is different. Each listing is different. Each deal is different. So this is just more information for you to have in your toolbox in case you need it.
Right. So let me give you to kind of summarize an idea that Candace gave earlier, is a great way to use these bullet points that we reviewed today is to do a video that says, hey, my favorite tip to prepping your home for sale is, and the other 4 are available from this report or something like that, right? Candace, give us an idea of how they could actually take the content that you created and send it to the world.
Well, so I was going to do a video, but I just couldn't do it yesterday. But so I would my video would be something like, do you want to know how some sellers are getting maximum profit and faster offers? Yeah, I know that moving is a big deal and packing up your home is a big deal, but let me share some tips with you that can help. There are organizers out there that can help you get things done in your home when you don't have time or don't want to. Number 2, clear away the clutter. If you want to see what a perfect closet looks like, go to the Container Store and check out their closet setups. You'll understand what buyers are looking for today. Improve your home. Does your home need some little tweaks or does it need some big tweaks? I can help you with that. Make sure you clear away the clutter. This is the time to start making sure that you pack up things that have all your personality on it and make it kind of a blank slate so the buyer can come in and see their personality on it. And then you might consider doing some outside curb appeal. That's your chance to make a first impression. Let me give you some tips on that. And you might schedule a pre-inspection. You might leave that off. I'm saying this to you all, but I might say, you might consider scheduling a pre-inspection. Has it been years and years and years since you've had your home inspected? You might think about getting a pre-inspection. And then I'm going to say, just call me if you want some more information on any of these tips. I've got more in-depth information to give you, or message me for a free private report, something like that. That's all it would be. If you're not inclined to do a video, You can also add this to your website as a blog.
I
And
like
then
that.
your call to action. So any of these content that we're giving you are just ways for you to start to build up your library of content. These are not so much me teaching you as giving you information that you can share with others to start driving traffic to your ads or to your video, or to your website.
And you can also do both. So like
Yeah.
with the same content, you can string it out and maximize the life of, its exposure by maybe printing it, or not printing it, but, sending a blog or an email, and then maybe the next week doing a video on that. So anybody who missed the email or the blog, they'll see it in the video, or it'll be reinforced.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. And there's a concept in funnel marketing where your first video is just a scatter shot to a broad audience. And so your video should be short and not too in-depth. Then when somebody responds to your video, you can give them a little bit more in depth. You can send them the free report, or you can send them a video that's a little bit more in depth. And then when they've actually said, I want some more information on this, I'm interested in selling my home, then you get more in detail. So you take people in steps. You take people in steps through the funnel. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to act like somebody is already interested in you before you've ever gotten their attention. And the way you get the attention is with these short little videos. And we'll get more in
Okay.
depth with
Like that.
Ebony, did you want to add something?
Oh, I did not know that my speaker was on. I was saying that I like everything that she's saying. Like, I'm over here just taking notes.
And
But I love it.
I'm so glad. And the handout is in the PC Help community. You're going to have to correct my spelling, my feverish spelling and my numbering. But yeah, you can definitely use this. You can use it as is, because I did this. I tweaked it and ripped off and duplicated, but I also tweaked it so it's not plagiarism. So you can definitely use this, or you can just change it up and make it your own. You all are so creative that I know that you can come up with even some better ideas. And I hope when you do, you'll share those.
And
Awesome.
one thing they need to also do when they're, if they don't power wash their entire house or something, just make sure the windows clean inside and out.
Mhm.
They need to shine. And there is a product by Windex that you can attach to your garden hose and use it to clean the windows. And it does a good job, and keeps you from having to like get up on a third story ladder or something like that as a seller.
Yeah. Excellent. That's a great advice.
Thank you guys for all your contributions today. Anyone else want to add anything?
I just think like this is great preparation on how to grow our business, and as well, like just with yesterday, we spent a lot of time talking about how to be a business owner. But if you're not a business owner, sometimes you don't know the first steps, and well, go to Google and create a Google business account. So sometimes when it's broken down like this, it definitely helps. So I appreciate everything that both of you are doing. I'm looking forward to implementing it.
All right, beautiful. Thanks for sharing that.
Would-
All right,
I
we're here to help you guys. Candace, go ahead.
I just want to say one more thing. I would definitely, so that these things don't pile up, just take an action step today and do your video or your blog today. You don't have to publish it, just get it done. And then you can tweak it and do whatever you need, but take some time after each one of these, and we're running late, but take some time after each one of these sessions and implement the action step. And that way you won't get behind and overwhelmed.
All right, I'm going to say one more.
Candace, are you sharing that in the PC Help community? Is somebody doing that, or?
Yeah,
The document that we were looking at together is already there. Were you referring to something else?
Nope, that was it.
Okay, yeah,
Thank
I was
you.
posted this morning by Candace. Okay, I have had a couple of one-on-ones in the last 2 days or so, and I have had a few requests for accountability partners or script practice partners. So if you would like to be one, just put your hand up in the chat. And if you're looking for one, pay attention to the chat. I want to try to match you guys up, okay? And then I want to just ask you for a huge favor, which is becoming an accountability partner for someone is serious business. Okay. If you want accountability, and I believe we all know that with more accountability, we'll have better results, right? But if you're going to sign up to be somebody's accountability partner, don't drop the ball. Okay. Show up when you say you're going to show up. Treat it like a job, treat it like a standard. Okay. And you will help them immensely and they will help you immensely. But if you drop the ball, don't be surprised if you get fired, because you deserve to be fired if you commit to something and then you don't do it. Is that fair? All right, Candace, send them off with something a little bit more like, fluffy than what I just said.
I think what you just said is really important. And just remember that when you do accountability, everybody, we were talking about the page 27 in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, that it can seem like people have secret sauce that gets successful, but people that are successful have accountability partners. And that's part of being a business owner. So I think what Bill just said is as fluffy as it could get.
All right, guys, have a great day. I appreciate all your time. Thank you.